You know what? If this world is going to attack you, they just do that.
live now. But even though it's live,
Yeah.
there will be like 20 seconds delay.
Oh, that's fine.
Like see now, I can't. It's on.
Ayo.
There will be always a delay. You know that.
Okay, so you need to tell me. So my head is going to be in the screen.
No, it's fine. Right. Okay.
So when I'm waking up, I need to give you a heads up. If I ask you.
You can go down.
Huh? Yeah. No, I
Now,
said
I'm connected to this internet.
you need to connect to that.
I connected it here.
Yeah. Or to this user.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit.
No, I'll connect it to my phone. I don't know how fast.
Are you streaming the whole function?
Yeah, whole thing.
Okay, then when you come in here, then you can. I don't know if it's gonna have that lag.
So when that, according to the program, when that's happening?
That's happening first. From there they're gonna come here.
Oh,
Come
okay.
here, they're gonna sit there.
Oh, okay.
Huh? Yeah,
Yes.
they're opening
Are you okay
up.
with that? Because I was all the wrong
Oh.
I wrote it to say,
Then you can speak
be
to.
careful what she wrote about you.
Oh, you speak to that She's the so she'll be your best option.
Six can tell you one day how you became a doctor. You don't need to think.
No problem. We'll talk.
You don't need to thank for it.
Okay, Rose, anything else?
You okay? Amanda dislocated in the bus?
You okay?
I'm fine.
Thank you.
On campus or in the bus? No, not in the bus. I was
That's what I
Let me think so much.
Sound 1. Sound check, sound check. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
All one place.
Sound check. Sound 1. Sound 1. 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We will open the function in prayer done by Adolescent Counselling.
Good afternoon. Can we all please stand and bow our heads? Lord, we call upon you to please be present here this afternoon. We, your children and your family, ask for you to undertake for us and for you to please be in control here this afternoon. We pray for a beautiful, successful event sprout from this Adolescent Counselling Clinic. We ask, Lord, for today, your knowledge and understanding. May all the work put into this Adolescent Counselling Clinic bear much fruit. We ask that life management of Merebank High and for all those who helped us. I thank you for the unity we share and for your wisdom you give us. I pray for our committee members and for all our voluntary stakeholders to be filled with the love of God and to have compassionate hearts to reach out to those who will seek guidance and counseling, that those who will enter this clinic will find peace and comfort, and above all, that they will find here men and women whom they can open up to and can trust. We pray that this clinic will be a place that will be a sanctuary and a haven of rest for many. Lord, may your Spirit reign forever in our hearts, now and forever. Amen. Please remain standing. This morning, the ANC Deputy Secretary General Jessie Duarte passed on. We offer our condolences to all her family and friends. Can we now please observe a moment of silence for those that have passed on from this life? Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Adelaine. Is Pastor Kawula and Guru Sankaran here today? We are privileged to have them here today. Could we please ask you to bless this function?
Om Hara Hara Namah Parvati Vadaye Hara Hara Mahadevaya Tennadudiya Sivane Potri Yennattavarkam Mereva Potri Potri Om Srikanta Druhinoba Manyudapana Skandendra Nandyadayaha Prachina Guru Opyasya Karuna Lesat Kata Gauravam Tam Sarvadi Guru Manokya Vapusham Mandasmitalam Kritam Chinmudragida Mudrapalinalinam Chitte Shivam Kurmahe Om Dasapadanaya Vitmahe Jwala Malaya Dimahi Tanno Parashakti Prachodayadu Om. We pray to the Divine Mother Parashakti, the Supreme Empress of the universe, to bless all the aims and all the efforts of the Merebank Adolescent Counsel Clinic. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone in the school and our temple chairperson, Mr. Tony Naidu, for this wonderful opportunity. As I've also educated in the same school, it brings back very great memories. And we wish the school all success. Nandri, Vanakkam.
Thank you, Guru Vignesh. We have apologies from Pastor Kawula and Pastor Victor and Mulana. Now, presenting the national anthem and the school song is a school choir led by Ms. Zungu. Wow. For my school, please. Acting Chief Education Specialist for Circuit Management, Ms. Shamase. The Acting Senior Education Manager of Merebank Extension, Mr. Patrick Naidu. The staff of Merebank Secondary, the class of 79, and honoured guests, all protocol observed. A warm welcome to you on the launch of the Merebank High Adolescent Clinic. It's so good to have you here present today. I am a member of the Merebank High Legacy Foundation. A few house rules: cell phones to be on silent. Anyone who wants to use the toilet is at the back of the hall, and the learners will be there to change to the program due to unforeseen circumstances. Now,
good afternoon, everybody. In her absence, I'd like to welcome Ms. Adele, Planning and Delivery Management, for her gracious acceptance to participate and deliver the keynote address at this special event. I'm sure she will be in a little later. Welcome Mr. Shagase, Director of Lazi District, Ms. Shamase, CES of Lazi District, Counselling Clinic. Quote, "This is not a Merebank legacy, we are now," unquote. These words, spoken at one of the many meetings that were held, which has led us to this present juncture. This auspicious day will forever echo in the classrooms at Merebank Secondary, as plans to ensure the sustainability of this service to our learners is already in motion. Merebank Secondary is truly a rainbow school, as we educate learners from Merebank, Wentworth, Lazi, and surrounding areas. This cultural mix augurs well for the constitution of our country and for the vision and mission statement of our school. The clinic will cater for mental health issues that our adolescents of today are faced with daily, yet we as educators are not suitably trained to assist them. The COVID-19 pandemic has left a trail of destruction in its wake, with as many as 406 positive cases reported yesterday. Learners have lost parents, siblings, and other family members. We have assisted the best we could, but now we have a team of trained professionals who can assist with coping strategies. Anxiety is at its peak at our schools, and we have witnessed this firsthand during exam sessions when learners have panic attacks, which can be attributed to the workload now as compared to the rotational timetable utilized during the peak of the pandemic. Drug abuse, bullying, natural disasters, poverty, divorce, attending a new school, pressure to produce good results, taking on more responsibility than age appropriate are just a few examples our learners are faced with on an ongoing basis. I know from personal experience that when I was younger, I heard my elders say, "It's just a phase, it will pass." And with the new generation of adolescents, we know that this is not true in many cases. We cannot wait for any learners to lose their lives before we act. The clinic will empower educators to identify telltale signs and make necessary recommendations. So, Merebank Secondary has a history of excellence, and I have the responsible spheres. We are proud to be a community-based school, and we are a student, Shamla Chetty, CEO of Duke's University, one of the largest universities in the world, which is based in America, with 2021 matric learners in the form of bursaries, and this is a sustainable venture and will be funded on an ongoing basis. You would have witnessed the construction as you drove into school. They are busy with the installation of a borehole at school, and provide water for our surrounding communities during any water shortages. The plan going forward would be for these role players, the Merebank Legacy Foundation, Kebasani Trust, we feel the stability of our present ventures and explore avenues to continue of the Merebank Legacy Foundation. I salute you. You are as a human being and you were God sent to our school. A true visionary into the legacy, but we are preparing our future learners for the road ahead. Thank you.
Without vision is only passing time. Is so apt. As tomorrow, 18 July, we celebrate Mandela Day. And this is just the beginning of our 67 minutes to honor our father. And this is exactly what we had in mind for today's events, to keep legacy alive. Now, a great idea starts with a thought, a dream, a vision. So it was with our clinic. This brilliant idea is the brainchild of our chairperson, Dr. Segi Naidu. Today, he turns this vision of opening up an adolescent clinic into a reality. The class of 79 met a few years ago, reunited, partied, and then the idea of an adolescent clinic was born. Dr. Naidu, who will take you through a brief history of the class of 79, the formation of the Merebank High School Legacy Foundation, and the launch of the adolescent clinic through a slide presentation. But before Dr. Naidu comes up here, a little bit about him. I know most of you do know him. He's a very popular man. But for those that don't know much about him, Dr. Naidu is a specialist obstetrician, gynecologist. He's a medical specialist and a fertility specialist based in St. Augustine's. He's also a childhood friend. We are all childhood friends. And I would say that we've been together from nursery school, now called preschool. That makes us good, long-time friends. We all have been together decades now and have been working on numerous projects. And may the class of 79 remain ever strong. Let's welcome Dr. Naidu as he does his slide presentation. A warm applause for Dr. Naidu.
Good afternoon to all of you, friends, family. A special thank you to the educators and the management of Merebank Secondary for allowing us to commence this project. So I also greet all the dignitaries and officials from the Department of Education and a special warm welcome to all our friends and former students that are here. I need to give special recognition to two people who are found in the audience that I know that we wouldn't be here if they didn't shape our lives. So can I applaud Mrs. 83 years old, who has attended our class. also Mr. G. Reddy, my form teacher, mentor in life. So, these are just about two individuals that shaped our lives and shaped our careers. So just to let you know the stuff and why are we here today, the development of this clinic, and then the future role of the Merebank High Legacy Foundation. The class of 79 as our program director, as groups of people or members of our class that have got a keen sense of social responsibility and is committed to contributing to the society of Merebank. I am just a representative of this group, but I can tell you they are a tireless bunch of individuals that have only served and served the interest of our community at large. So it's important to understand why we're celebrating this launch today. We have just celebrated Youth Month, and tomorrow marks the birthday of our beloved icon, President Nelson Mandela. Our Madiba was the epitome of sacrifice and volunteerism, and through this clinic, we hope to share his love. So, when the class of 79 met, we had thought about what projects can we do. And we can't continue to have 20 and 30 and 40-year reunions without paying back to our community and serving our alma mater. So we looked at doing something tangible in terms of community support. So we decided that we'll come to the school and meet with the school management, and we were fortunate to meet with Mrs. Sandra Naik, who is now Dr. Sandra Naik. And she was very passionate about what's happening in the school and what's happening to her young learners. And she expressed a concern for learners who are experiencing psychosocial stresses. That there are current facilities that exist within the educational system, but this community resource is under-resourced and is inadequate to deal specifically with the adolescent learners. So she planted this idea into our head, and therefore we are here now in terms of developing this model for adolescent clinic. So we decided on a number of projects. Apologies for that. So, as class of 79, we have decided that we want to contribute in a more tangible way. And what are the various projects that we want to embark on? So we thought of the first idea that Mrs. Knight had given us at the time was that the kids in the school needed extra seating, so we thought of donating benches. We spoke about the psychosocial stresses, and then the idea started growing upon us to develop this adolescent counselling clinic. With time, we would like to have motivational speakers from the different disciplines on a regular basis to attend the school and motivating our kids. And there are many teachers with expertise that are retired or former learners that have expertise in their fields that would provide extracurricular tuition. And in addition, with the fourth industrial revolution upon us, we want to prepare our kids for the fourth industrial revolution. So we are committed to the development and upliftment of Merebank Secondary. And this is through partnerships with the school community of ex-students, parents, staff, and well-wishers. And I can tell you, we aim to ensure the continued growth of Merebank Secondary as a center of excellence, learning, and opportunity, like Mr. Bridgewell alluded to. This is just some of the environmentally friendly benches that we have donated to the school. committee members want to test it out first before they can provide it to the students. And here it is now being used by the students. So I just want to go on to a wonderful article that appeared in last month's Sunday Times by Tomlinson and colleagues, and looked at what are the challenges facing our youth of today. If we look at the World Health Organization definition of mental health in youth, it's defined as young people's ability to cope with life's challenges. If you look at the South African Child Gauge of the 16th issue, it reflects on how poverty, violence, and climate change may undermine children, equip them for the challenges to come. Violence is unrelenting and it's all pervasive, and it manifests as anxiety, depression, and substance abuse. Poverty, though, is a slow form of violence. The exposure to economic events intensifies stresses and conflict in the home, and the capacity for families to care for the children. The COVID-19 pandemic equally provoked widespread fear and uncertainty. So if we look at what is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on these disasters, and particularly on our youth, the repeated lockdowns have cut off our children from friends, the schools, and the support networks. It stretched the capacity of families to provide a stable and a secure environment. And recent events in KZN are increasing stress and anxiety levels, giving rise to anger, fear, and deep despair. In addition, the youth are witness to government's failure to address these issues and other existential threats to their future. This was a popular song when we were growing up in the 80s by Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall. So we have to understand that schools and families are foundational for optimal development of the youth. And the teachers are essential in shielding children from harm and building their resilience. With this clinic, we have the ability to shift the balance of power and to start building a more inclusive, caring, and sustainable society. This clinic offers us the potential to do things differently, a chance of working together with the youth is to leverage hope and agency. I can tell you we are extremely proud to work with the educators and the management of Merebank Secondary, who needs to be congratulated for working together on this project. They played a huge role in the success of this launch. So the kids of the 70s and the Beatles had it all worked out. Let's magnify the stress. And they say, well, nothing really is real. If I'm angry, de-stress, just think about yourself on a... We enjoyed it. We didn't really know what it meant then, but I can tell you now, love. So, Loeb spoke about this, what is our vision and what's our mission to school management? To give students a meaningful access to care in a location that is safe, leadership, collaboration, and systemic changes are the framework of the Merebank High Legacy Foundation Counseling Program. I must stress that this is a joint venture with school management and the school governing body. We are key stakeholders in a collaborative effort to provide a safe and supportive environment, academically, physically, and emotionally. I can tell you that our team from Class of 79 has worked tirelessly and has given up many hours. In order to have a legacy, let's form a foundation. And this was a great idea that came from Roshan Ramde, that we call it the Merebank High Legacy Foundation. So we developed our founding documents. We then wrote out a constitution, which is available for all to see. Our mission is to form the clinic and to partner with the school in the various projects. We registered this and then applied for non-profit organization registration. And then we sought the approval of Department of Health, which we have received. I wanted to appreciate this logo, which took some time for us to develop this. Our just mention only a few elements within this logo. And this logo is an inspirational form of art, an accolade expertise of Nirmala Pillai, our artist and graphic designer, who encapsulated all of our ideas and thoughts into this logo. So just to point out, so when Mrs. Naika planted a seed in our head, and that's the seed with its roots in providing the tree of hope, nurtured by these blessed hands, and sitting on an open book, and also cradling the seat of education, which is our brain. Most of us have gone through school with this insignia on our monogram, Vincit Omnia Veritas, and we just never knew what it meant at the time. But it means, so that's to inspire honesty and integrity in our society. This clinic will serve as a powerful tool for achieving health equity among children and adolescents who unjustly experience disparities in their outcomes simply because of their race, their ethnicity, or their family income. Mr. Brijlal alluded to some of the problems that our kids face, like school bullying, especially in the arena of social media, and cyberbullying is becoming more frequent. Increasing the risk of teenage suicide is become of epidemic proportions in the country. Teenage pregnancies, substance abuse, and students or pupils that are grappling to understand their sexuality. The COVID-19 pandemic provided its own challenges, with the loss of a loved one, or the loss of a breadwinner, aggravating the situation by the excessive grief. So, as we notice, we're not using masks, because as the one pandemic is starting to phase out, we have a new pandemic on our hands. This is an excellent article that appeared here in our South African Medical Journal in April 2022, Actions of a Troubled Country. These statistics are startling. In the year 2021, we had 34,000 teenage pregnancies. 688 were between the ages of 9 and 10. So, and are infected with HIV in the youth. Now, what is this due to? Is it due to a lack of sex education? Is it due to a lack of contraception? A recent headline in the Soweto News found that only 10% of these teenagers who had given birth to children at that age have returned to complete their studies, which has increased the economic burden on our state due to child grants and so I must stress again that this year is a collaborative effort. Collaboration with school administrators, teachers, and the support staff ensures the school health partnership meets the student needs efficiently, effectively, and seamlessly. We formed it was a collaborative effort involving the Legacy Foundation, the school management, professional service providers like our occupational therapists, our psychologists, social workers, and our doctors. And this very important person, today she's emigrated to the Netherlands, and she was instrumental in developing the model for an adolescent clinic. So, just to talk a little about the development of this clinic and the model and how this project was set up. When we first spoke about our ideas within our committee, we then came up with a project concept. We need to put it across to the management of the school governing body, and as Dr. Governor with Dr. Naika were very excited about the project. They identified a space in the school for the clinic on the premises. We then identified with the major key stakeholders, the school management personnel who will volunteer the services. We then have to agree to terms and conditions with these key personnel and sign a memorandum of understanding. And as time goes on and as the need arises, To build up a bank of voluntary service providers, we will need to identify other individuals from the community who have the necessary skills that would assist with the project for sustainability. We also plan to have a clinic advisory panel which will have an oversight role in the clinic. And we want this to be an outcomes-based project, that we will define specific outcomes that we would like to see, what processes that we would measure for the project, and look at developing tools as an evaluation strategy. So this is just the clinic, is the pivot, that the class of 79 and the advisory body will look after the interests of the clinic. We will continue to engage with school management and the school governing body. The medical professionals will be there on an ongoing basis, and our important stakeholders, the Learner Representative Council. We think this is a very important aspect here, is our links to the community. And how do we link this clinic for the benefit of the community? It's important that today we also have principals of the surrounding schools, and that we would link this up with the Principals Forum and depend on the existing organizations within the community that's providing such services, and to link up with them to establish how we can bring them in to help us with drug and substance abuse, child welfare organizations, and have our religious leaders behind us. This is just a view of how health and education intersects with all the role players and with the school-based healthcare system. So by integrating into the education environment, it goes directly to the school's mission and delivers outcomes that matters to the educators. We will have on-site healthcare professionals that will collaborate with the school to address a broad range of concerns that affect students' healthy development, such as the ones that Mr. Bridgewell spoke about earlier. So these are some of our professional services. Most of them have links to Merebank Secondary. Anita Pathe is our lead counseling specialist. Sadly, she could not be here due to personal circumstances. Her dad, Mr. B.A. Naidu, has been the principal of P.R. Pathe High School for many, many decades today. We have a social worker, and occupational therapists are two ex-learners, Mrs. Navi Govender and Nerina Raman. And our doctors are Dr. Daya Rajkishore, who is a class of 79 graduate, and Maya Rama. I need to make special mention of Navi Govender. As soon as Navi heard about the project, she hit the ground running. She rolled up her sleeves and she started her therapy already, without us even launching. She just wants to get involved. So a special thank you to Navi. We need to, with time, increase our panel of professional services, and we'll identify that as we go along. So just to take you through to how this clinic is going to operate. So the clinic will operate mainly on a Saturday, for now, between 8 and 12 noon, but these hours will be extended if needed. What we will do is that the teachers will identify the student in need, the consent of the pupil, and then refer to the clinic. Now, if the pupil does not buy into the system or the parents are not willing to participate, then we will refer them to the local counseling clinics or the school counselor or any community-based organization. Feedback mechanism back to the clinic, because we just don't want kids to be lost in the system. The student will attend the clinic, and then a volunteer from the class of 79 will give us secretarial services. We'll have a final assessment with the school psychologist. We'll then decide on the package of services that need to be identified for the pupil, like either a clinical psychologist, social worker, occupational therapist, or whether they need to be seen by a doctor. If need be, we will develop mentorship programs and other support groups, because at the end of the day, we want to see improved psychological well-being of the pupils, and improved social interaction, and most important, is an improvement in the academic performance. This clinic will be measured by performance indices, which will be assessed on an annual basis. These indicators will be based on whatever throughput we have on the clinic and any outcome measures for the learners. So our vision is that this clinic must become an established node for adolescent health care, and it should be extended to the surrounding schools like in Wentworth, the Montville and the Bluff. We will depend on the organizational support that's already existing within the community. We will depend on the religious bodies to support us, and we will have a Merebank High Legacy Foundation advisory body that will be formed to overlook the activities of the clinic. We know that healthcare providers have many opportunities to promote school and family connectedness, and we know this is going to have positive effects on adulthood. So if we have school and family connectedness during adolescence, it's going to have long-lasting effects into the adulthood, and it will make us a better community. So in terms of sustainability, we don't want to have this big launch and then this clinic fizzles out because we don't have the services for it. For now, the clinic has been solely funded from contributions of the class of 79. But we do have pledge forms available for any former learner or any members of the community who wish to make a contribution financially to the running of this clinic. We will continue to increase the panel of professional services on an ongoing basis because it's a volunteer group. The Merebank High Legacy Foundation will always be involved in the activities of the clinic, and we would have an advisory board that will meet on every quarter to assess the activities of the clinic and have an audit. We really would welcome lots of younger and former learners to join the Merebank High Legacy Foundation to allow a good succession as we go forward. This is just an example of the benefactor boards. You're going to see this when you enter the clinic, and we hope to see more of these boards being populated by former learners who made financial contributions to the development of this clinic. This is a unique concept. It's never been developed in the country, and it's the first of its kind. We thought that we will pilot this project at Merebank Secondary, and then we would like to extend the service to the other schools in the region. And thereafter, we would like to see it replicated in other regions. We want to see Merebank Secondary as the hub, and where it creates a platform to empower the youth and it will improve our community. If we improve the power of learning, it's going to improve the power of learning. And the future of our youth is going to depend on the choices they make. I think we have a social responsibility to build better communities by improving the lives of the youth. So this is a beautiful quotation from the Dalai Lama in the Book of Happiness with Emeritus Archbishop, or late Emeritus Archbishop Tutu. The beauty about life is we all have the ability to help others, and that's what we intend doing. When we first came to the school, and we thought that we are going to be the first to donate the benches, we were surprised that the class of 69 had already preceded us. We had found a bench with the badge and logo onto it. And we would encourage all former learners in all former classes to make this project of donation of the benches a successful event by donating more environmentally friendly benches to increase the seating capacity for our pupils at the school. We have membership forms that will be available, and these membership forms will be distributed on request for people or members that would like to be members of the Merebank High Legacy Foundation. Following this launch, we will establish the Merebank High Legacy Advisory Body. And when you enter the clinic, there will be some pledge forms for any financial contributions to the sustainability of the clinic. Mr. Brijla did inform us at the beginning of his talk that Merebank High, or Merebank Secondary as it is called now, is a community-based school. And we have many distinguished learners that have passed through the hands of our revered teachers in the school. I'm going to mention a few because it's important to know about the significance of our teachers on our former students. We've got Justice Moini Modli. the first winner of the Young of Mayor speech contest, if I remember when I was a pupil. She serves on the KZN Judiciary currently. Professor Barry Kistansamy, class of 79, he is the former Dean of the Nelson Mandela Medical School. We have Dr. Ashok Chandika, who is here in the audience. He is the current chairman of the Active Citizens Network and plays an important role as a community activist in linking us back to our community. We have Professor Nash Ranjit. He is a renowned cardiologist worldwide. We have Shakira Kassem. Shakira is a prominent pediatrician. She's an Islamic scholar and she's the author of a few books. A visionary and a philanthropist. She's passionate about transformation in leadership in organizations, and she was a major contributor of the bursary fund for 12 students in the 2021 year from Merebank. I often get asked by former students, how can we assist the school? Because they really don't know in a concerted group. And we would like to see the Legacy Foundation being a vehicle for future projects and to partner with the school. I want to end with a clip from President Cyril Ramaphosa in his State of the Nation speech in 2018, when he quoted our great poet, Yuma Sekela. I want to be there for the cure of HIV. I want to be there for the alcoholic. I want to be there for the drug addict. And I want to be there for the victim of gender-based violence. The Merebank Legacy Foundation want to be there for the youth of tomorrow. The question is, will you be there? I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge a few people. To Dr. Sandra Naika, the Deputy Principal of the school, for her vision. The school management, Mr. Brijlal, Nosh Palan, Asha Jagannath, for the involvement in the organization of this launch. Dr. Kameshri Naidu, who developed the model for the clinic. Mr. Kumaran Pillai, and the past governing chairs, Mr. Sean Maharaj and Mr. Kumaran Reddy, and our designer, Nirmala Pillai, and the team. And finally, I'd like to call on the Merebank Legacy Foundation Committee to please come forward. So that's Tony and Tracy. Spur, Logs, Cliffy, Roshan, Casey, Vishnu, Willow, Adelaide, Rashida, this group are our superheroes. We spend many hours together, we spend nights and evenings and sacrificing family time and spending time with the grandchildren to put this whole clinic together, and finally the fruit of their hard work. And thanks once again to the school management, Mr. Brijlal, Dr. Sandra Naika, Nosh Palat, Asha Jagannath, and all the educators from the school. Thank you, friends. We want a successful venture, and we want to join hands with
Thank you, Dr. for the very informative presentation. And I'm sure, Dr. Naidu, that lots of them out here will be assisting us on the project. No doubt about that. You came here because you were interested in this project. A warm welcome and a special welcome. Now, working closely with Dr. Naidu and sharing sharing his vision, his passion, and working tirelessly behind the scenes is Dr. Sandra Naika, the Deputy Principal of Merebank Secondary School. It's through her dedication and commitment to this project that we now have a clinic for our learners, who will be assisted by qualified doctors and social workers. Sandra Naika, please come to the stage and deliver her message. A round of applause for this hard-working woman.
Mr. Shamasi, Ms. Shamasi, Mr. Patrick Knight, I bid you all a very warm welcome. I extend my welcome to all of the esteemed guests seated here today at Merebank Secondary. As I stand before you, I hear the words of the great Madiba deep in my soul. It always seems impossible until it is done. Way back in the late 1990s, the counseling room door shut. My heart sank. I knew back then we were going to do a great disservice to the youth of Merebank. It was going to be impossible to open those doors again. It was going to be impossible to offer psychosocial support to our learners. But alas, in 2019, in came the class of 79. Reopening the counseling room doors now became possible. They ignited hope. I knew then the vision that I had was going to materialize. So here I stand very proudly to give you my view of the role of this clinic here at Merebank Secondary. I shall be peppering my address with the wise words of Madiba in keeping with the ideals of sacrifice and volunteerism. What is the role of this clinic for Merebank Secondary? Ladies and gentlemen, family units are changing. It is no more mother, father, child, grandfather, grandmother asked, why did you not come to the Saturday interviews? And you are told, I had to stay at home and babysit because my mum and her boyfriend came back late from the casino yesterday. Or you are told that I had to go to the police station to help to pay bail for my mother who was arrested for dealing in drugs. Incidentally, those were the reasons that I got the society. The learner before you in the class is no more than just a child. He or she is the sum of everything that is happening in that home and everything that is being demanded from him or her. It is expected then that we should demand homework from this child. That's impossible. But it is also expected of us as teachers to be patient and to offer the necessary support. It is not always possible. So this is where the clinic steps in. I believe that there is a trauma. Never mistake the symptom for the cause. A swollen ankle is not necessarily a hurt ankle. So a deviant learner in the class is not necessarily a learner who is just being mischievous, or is not necessarily a learner going through some phase of his or her life. But that is the learner who is a combination of everything that is happening at home with his or her peers and at school. Through this clinic, we are now going to be able to help that learner with coping skills for the challenges or she faces, because we have experts in the field. And so, my dear colleagues, it is our responsibility, dear teachers, to make sure then that we work in tandem with all individuals at this clinic. For that we are supposed to be giving. We must embrace it, because that is our primary purpose. And in so doing, we are actually going to assist that learner, and that becomes the role of the clinic. It helps us build a more conducive teaching and learning environment. To our professional partners, our allied partners, and doctors and ex-learners, we look to you to have invaluable that may strengthen the support that we offer at this on-site clinic. Quote the great Madiba: "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." The community of Merebank was once a vibrant area of dedicated, humble parents, thriving businessmen, youth activism, sporting clubs, schools of excellence, producing a generation of lawyers, doctors, teachers, engineers, accountants, policemen, and the list goes on. However, in the last 6 years of my 36 years at this institution, I have seen drastic change in the fabric of this very close-knit community. Crime, poverty, unemployment has shredded households and left the youth tattered and torn emotionally, morally, spiritually. This is where the clinic steps in. Seated here today are individuals who have been specially noted through your interactions over the years, both with the institution as well as with the class of 79. And so I go and I look at the various people seated here today. Our dear religious leaders, we look to you to work with the clinic to help the child that is referred to the clinic. You are in that position to make home visits. You are in the position to use the podium to talk to those parents to be better role. Let the deacons and youth leaders have a role to play outside of the congregation. Our dear community activists. As Dr. Naida said, this clinic is a vehicle. You often asked, how can I help? So now you have a limousine. Start cruising. Cruise your way all the way to the gate, through the gates, come up and ask. And what should you be asking for is, where is the Merebank High Legacy Foundation and how can I assist? I would like for you to look at how you can now bring back activities, social clubs, environmental awareness programs, anything that will take the troubled learner away from the problems that he or she is experiencing, move it in a creative, positive direction, so that there's positive energy in this community. That. It is also my fervent wish that there are many elder learners here, as well as some of the younger learners here, ex-learners. I encourage you to form what is called the big brother or the big sister kind of mentorship. You can never underestimate what it means to a troubled teenager to get a call that simply asks, how? In this time, it is all just a text message away. That is how I foresee this clinic functioning together with this community. What is the role of the Department of Education as an adjunct of the Department of Education? This clinic plays an ambassadorial role. Establish a lesson as to how we can partner with the private sector and get things done. Monday. The slogan, do what you can with what you have, where you can. And this is the epitome of that. We took what we have, and this is the epitome of that. We took what we have, we're doing it here, because this is where we need to have it. This is a pilot project. It was identified by the school. A group of individuals came together and they offered us the resources. It's driven by determination. It is my vision that the Department of Education will be calling upon the Merebank High Legacy Foundation, as well as members of the school, to meet and to mentor other communities in our district, if not even in KZN. Let this clinic be spoken of at forums where it is asked, how can we get the conceptualization of this clinic becomes a branch of hope? This will be the role of this clinic. It is going to inspire and galvanize partnerships that will help the Department of Education. Dear guests, in concluding, I humbly ask and allow me to address the class of 79 personally. I know that Dr. Naidu did call upon the committee. Ladies and gentlemen, seated among you are also other members of the community. So before I address you personally, may I ask at each table for the class of 79 members to stand. I would like to address you personally. Class of 79 members, can you please stand? I would like for you to remain standing as I address you. Once again, in the words of Madiba, sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that great generation. Let your greatness blossom. You, ladies and gentlemen, are a generation exited in 1979. Did you ever think that in 2022 you will walk back and you will make your name in the history books? You ought to applaud that. Thank you. You are the architect of a facility that will change the fiber of life in Merebank. You are going to reach into the hearts and souls of families battered and beaten by social evils. You offer them hope. You lead the way out of darkness. And for that, I salute each and every one of you. Let the Lord richly bless you for the unselfish work that you've put in. Your generation of greatness is certainly unmatched. Thank you. You may be seated. And I would have to ask now for the honor of having Dr. Segi Naidu stand up on his own. Dr. Naidu. I would have to thank you personally, Dr. Naidu. When I brought the seeds of this program before you, I never knew what you would infuse it with. I never knew how you would package these seeds and how you would take it back to the class will eventually come about. But I thank you personally on behalf of every learner which this particular clinic is going to touch. I can only hope that as a human being that you will feel forever blessed that you have done what you have done. I thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I depart from this podium with this vision that you see here in front of you, which is the protected hands together with the tree in between. And this is what it means, the protective hands around the sprouting tree of youth. This is what this clinic is. This is what this clinic is going to do. It's going to hold our youth.
Thank you, Dr. Naidu, and that was really possible. There's just a few things I need to speak about. You mentioned something about seeds to Dr. Naidu. Just remember, Dr. Naidu is a fertility doctor, so he will understand about seeds. Secondly, you made the class of 79 stand up. We're not old. 60 is the new 30. That goes for you guys out there as well, eh? And if you think that your sleepless nights are over, Dr. Naika, it's not. You will continue to work on this clinic, and I know you'll give your heart and soul into this. You made a quote, you mentioned a quote, and I think it's so apt when you say, "It always seems impossible until it's done." A quote by Nelson Mandela. So I thank you, Dr. Naidu and Dr. Naika, for making the impossible possible. A round of applause for both of them for their help. Our thanks also goes to the SGB of Merebank Secondary School, who have been with us from its planning stages. We now call upon the chairperson, Mr. Kumaran Pillai, to say a few words.
Thank you, Program Director, and VIP guests, each and every one of you. I greet you with respect. I won't take the time to call each and every one by name, but in essence, each and every one of you are our VIP guests today. So let me start with this. I was also a pupil at Merebank Secondary School, and it's been a number of years, and it's been years that I've forged and developed friendships with pupils that became brothers and sisters, and we spent that quality throughout the world and been quite successful. Forged their own way in this world. And the same ills that befall our children of today, I think we've experienced it as well. And this is a very, it's a wonderful day to show support to our children of today. It's a support mechanism in effect. It will demonstrate to our technology. People have lost the ability to communicate, and I think therein lies the ills of society. People are not talking anymore. Children don't know how to communicate their problems. They can't even talk. And we see, when they go even to the supermarket, they don't communicate effectively. And we see a lot of social ills. Our children of today are our future. Presidents are born in schools. It's schools that nurture them. And as I said, the spirit of brotherhood that we had persists even up to today. We had our own support mechanisms. And we know about the problems that exist. I want to tell you about an adage. When an elephant trainer wants to subjugate an elephant, we all know what a large animal an elephant is. It's not easy to hold an elephant. It's when the elephant is yet a calf. He touches the elephant's leg. He uses a short stick or a pipe. He pegs it into the ground. He ties a rope around the elephant's leg. And while it's yet a calf, the elephant calf is not able to move, or is able to move only within that immediate circle. So as it grows, it creates within itself a memory that is not within its ability to escape that few meters that the elephant trainer has set upon him. And it's the same thing with our kids today. We create a memory in them, the things that they can do and things that they cannot do. So, what happens to them? They walk around in the same little circle, in the belief that they cannot do things that we have set a standard for them. So, it's my advice today, as parents and as grandparents, we should teach our children that they are able to achieve anything that they set their mind to. Let us not be like the elephant trainer, but unshackle our children. Let them aspire and let them go for great things. A child can achieve levels even beyond our imagination. Even myself, with little things on a computer, I'm in a daze. And even with the cell phone, I have to call my son to show me. And he says, things say, Dad. He makes like that. Hey, Dad, I can't understand. And he can't understand why I can't grasp it. It's modern technology. Taking me a while to understand. So, that's how society is gone today. But as the SGB, we fully endorse everything that transpires here today. I wish it much success. It's a seed planted, and let's hope that this giant oak that grows, that the children find refuge and courage to come forward, and we'll help them. We all need each other in this world. And if we can provide a helping hand, why not? So I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for the time on the Sunday to be here and to enjoy this moment. And we can really say, in the days ahead, I was there. I was there at the opening. And it's going to be good for the society, it's going to be good for the community, it's going to be good for the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pillay. Very interesting adage, and I'm sure something we will think about and remember. Our learners finally have a clinic they can call their own. And to share her thoughts on what this clinic means for the learners is the president of the RLC, Data Anamale. Data, are you here? I think the children don't want to be in the company of adults. They find us a bit boring. So they prefer to be with their friends. But I'm sure she's outside. Okay. In the meantime, can we have the choir to get ready? Data, come forward, please. In the meantime, you can have the choir come forward.
I would like us to take a moment to consider the following. The bully may have been a victim of bullying himself. The child who failed to do his homework may have to take care of his younger siblings. The child who is afraid to speak was constantly told to shut up. The teenage mother was a victim of rape. The child who is mostly considered obedient and disciplined is actually depressed. A very good afternoon to our guests, education staff and members of the class of 79. My name is Daita Sachanamde and I speak today as president of the RCL. The transition from being a teenager into adulthood is daunting. Once we add the influence of social media, the pressure of school, our parents' expectations, we are bound to get confused sometimes and make mistakes. I would like to highlight the plight of young students today. It has to be understood that we are different from students from many years ago. And in a community where drugs, alcohol, poverty and abuse are prominent, it is not rare for young people to be steered in the wrong direction or be caught up in difficult situations. This leads to violence, substance abuse, and mental health issues being a constant factor in our lives. Adolescent counselling is aimed at young people to help them make sense of their feelings, behaviors, and thoughts. This improves our coping skills and encourages decision-making, which builds and allows us to build our confidence in our abilities and develop as individuals. To the class of 79, Nelson Mandela is known to have once said that what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is the difference that we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the lives we lead. Today, you have made a difference in our lives at Merebank Secondary, not only through initiating such an incredible project, but also for being a source of inspiration. You are showing us the true meaning of sharing and caring, and we will forever be grateful and do our best to make this project successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalita, for that very sweet message. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's sit back and enjoy the melodious voices of Mzungu and the school choir as they sing The African Dream, a song we are now living.
Sometime alone in the evening, I look outside my window at the shadow in the night. I hear the sound of distant crying, the darkness multiplying, and weary hearts tonight. All I feel is my heart beating with confusion. Telling me to go, but I could never run, 'cause in my African dream,
again, and we will never run. 'Cause in my African dream, there's a new tomorrow. My African dream is a dream that you can follow. Hey, yeah, mother to Africa. Ninemi sasa elihle. Ikukule Africa. Solilandela Africa. Mother to Africa. Ninemi sasa elihle. Ikukule Africa. Solilandela Africa. 'Cause this is my African dream. Wangena tinabo, watulumoya. 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 Walilizela, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Wangeni soprano, watulumoya. Wangeni soprano, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Wangeni atobo, watulumoya. Wangeni atobo, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Wangeni tenabo, watulumoya. Wangeni tenabo, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Wangeni paraso, watulumoya. Wangeni paraso, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Wangena tinabo, watulumoya. Wangena tinabo, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Walilizela, watulumoya. Wangena tinabo, watulumoya. Wangena tinabo, watulumoya.
So, Mrs. Songo and the learners, I think it's absolutely brilliant and they deserve another round of applause. Sure. This was fantastic. Mrs. Songo, I just remember that you've also conducted at the UK's Music Academy or something? Yes, you are totally fantastic. Thank you, thank you. That was a lovely intermission. And now back to the work that we are doing now, talking about our launch. I now call upon Mrs. Jalgun Kosa the Chief Director of Inclusive Education, who will introduce our guest of honor and keynote speaker, Mr. Nkobo, who is the head of department, Mrs. Jabu Kosa.
Thank you so much, Program Director, for giving me this platform. I will start by recognizing our head office officials as well as the district officials that are present here before I introduce the head of the department. We have our district director, Mr. Shangase, if he can just stand and wave. We also have Director Mr. Bridgila from head office, who is responsible for SNES, Special Needs Education, Mr. Bridge. In our midst, we have Deputy Director General, Mrs. Weziwe Hadebe, who is our DDG second in command from the head of department. Can you please rise and wave, ma'am? Yeah, I believe that Mr. Shamase has the entourage from district in the form of second management team. If they can all rise and wave. Thank you so much, colleagues. I am directly responsible for the program of the day, because I'm Chief Director, also responsible for social and enrichment program. So this event is within our core business. We will then work closely with the school in ensuring that we replicate this concept in the entire department. We feel very much honored to stand before the people of your caliber in this august occasion and introduce the man who is the first in command in the Department of Education below the executive officer, Mr. Kim Shengu, who is a political head of the department. I'm charged with the responsibility of presenting to you Mr. G.N. Ngobo, as I've indicated earlier on, who is our head of department, who is hailed within the ranks of the department. He started as an educator, of course. He was a teacher for a number of years, and then he rose up to become a college lecturer, and immediately after that he became the departmental head within the institution where he was lecturing, and then he went on and was appointed at head office as the director, and he also progressed and was also promoted in the chief for human resource development. And currently he is now the head of the department in KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education, responsible for 2.8 million learners. He is also responsible for 120,000 employees, because our department is the largest employer in the country, not only in the province. So we have civil servants who amount to 120,000 employees, of which within we have 90,000 educators that Mr. Ngobo oversees. He also is running the budget of more than 57 billion in this province of KwaZulu-Natal. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present to you our Honorable HOD, Mr. G.N. Ngobo.
Thank you, Mrs. Koza, for introducing me, Program Director, officials who are my colleagues from head office, who are with the DDG, Ms. Weziwe Hadebe, colleagues from the districts, headed by Mr. Shangase. but in a special way, I have to greet the Merebank community, because here it is this community and it is learners who belong to this community who have brought us together. I have to really recognize the work done and the vision of the principal and the deputy principal, and brought us here today. Were actually were learners who were once in this school. I've titled my short speech by quoting from Frantz Fanon in a book called The Wretched. He says, every generation must find its mission, fulfill it or betray it. I found that an apt quotation because the generation that has brought us here today, the class of 1979, is a class that would have just started secondary school just 1 year before 1976. So they are learners who were leading the struggle in 1976, and the struggle that brought us to where we are today as a country. They had found their mission at that point in 1976, and they had pursued it, and in 1994 we attained our democracy as a country, free of racial attitudes, and we started a journey of a country that is united in its diversity. Definitely at the time when that class was here, in 1979, it was an all-Indian school, because the dictates of the law then pronounced that it had to be so. But today, this school has a different texture. This school today is no longer the same as the school experienced by the 1979 class. That 1979 class faced its own challenges, but the challenges that are faced by Merebank Secondary today are different. Now, with the challenges that the class of 79 faced, they found their mission, and their mission was to contribute to the liberation of our country. The Soweto uprisings happened in 1976, but spread throughout the country, where young people took to the streets in protest against the regime that was in charge at that point. So what makes the class of 79 that has brought us here today important is that they had discovered their mission then, but they have now rediscovered their mission, a new mission, which is to face the challenges and assist the democratic dispensation they helped brought to existence, help it now face new challenges that it has. They have not said that because we contributed to the liberation, we now have done our part, and let a new generation discover its own mission, fulfill it, or betrayed. They have felt that if they let things go as they do in the country now, they would have betrayed a mission that they had committed to way back in 1976. We are very grateful for that, and we would wish that actions such as this of this foundation are emulated everywhere in the province. This indeed is a good story to tell. It's a good story of how government and communities can come together to achieve a common goal and create safety nets for vulnerable children of our province, so that they too have a chance to thrive, not to drop out of school or be left behind, so that they too can have a chance of freeing themselves from the shackles of the celebrity culture that we have seen permeating our society, where our young people have taken celebrities and the celebrity culture as the core, as something that needs to be followed. Of course, I have nothing against celebrities. I must not be misunderstood. They play a very important role from all walks of life, play a very important role. But there's a certain culture among them. There are certain things that need not be followed. We need not follow everything that they do. For instance, among things that we actually find with this celebrity culture is the abuse of alcohol, the abuse of drugs, much as some celebrities are good models. But we cannot shy away, we cannot run away from is dominant there, is that of flashy clothes, flashy cars, and flashy this, which actually makes some people get into debt unnecessarily because they aspire to a life. This foundation, what these learners from 1979 have done, so that our learners can focus on role models that are actually leaders in society. A long time ago, have not shied away from leading and have not shied away from ensuring that future generations, long after they themselves have passed on, benefit from their contribution. As a government, we're facing many challenges because the generation that is growing, the generation that is put into our care, is exposed to things that our generation, the generation of 79, was not facing. HIV and AIDS, for example, has resulted in many of our children growing in house-headed households. I mean, yes, in child-headed households. Other pandemics that have come, like the COVID-19, have also increased the pressure on our learners, which has led to depression for some of them. And these things happen in the midst of our government facing the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And all these are exacerbated and are fertile ground for challenges like teenage pregnancies, sexual abuse of our children, substance abuse, GBV, you name them. We all know all the challenges that we're facing. Now, in recent in the past 2 years, we've faced this COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns. And in the province specifically, besides the COVID-19 pandemic, we had the July unrest, which had a potential of taking us back to the olden days in terms of the character it took and in terms of the incorrect interpretations that people had regarding particularly race relations in the country. And one of the tasks that by the July unrest, it actually shows that this school is no longer the same school that it was in 90. The children of challenges that children in the whole province are facing. It is for that reason that although we had other commitments, we felt we needed to come here because we wanted just to see what is it that the class of 79 has invited us for. We did sense that it was something unique and something special. And we actually felt that it's something that has to be emulated in the whole province. The spirit of giving back to your school. A spirit which, other races, of course, have been pursuing throughout. If you go to your ex-Model C schools, for example, and private schools, they have, their alumni contributing to the success and to the upkeep of their schools. They always go back and invest in the development of their schools. Now, for a school like this to do the same, it's something that we are very proud of as a department, and it's something that we want duplicated throughout the province. And when we do so, we'll always remember that it all started here in Merebank Secondary. The class of 79 at Merebank must be commended for recognizing the need for psychological and medical support for vulnerable children. Not only did the class of 79 recognize the importance for support, they have taken action together with the school to address the gaps in services for children at risk of school dropout and poor future outcomes. Our statistics in terms of learner dropouts are not pleasing. And there are various reasons why that is the case. And one of the reasons is the pressure and the depression that our children face, both at home in the community as well as in the schools. We must applaud this initiative, and we commit that we'll give it all the support it needs. We have here colleagues from the district, and because of the size of our department and the fact that many of our schools come from disadvantaged background, where there is a partner that our children are protected from all the ills of society that face them, that have been mentioned here. To the class of 79 and to the school who have worked hard on this project to ensure this day arrives, we wish you all the success, and we wish you to out the province. Because you are pioneers, you must expect that although we are at leadership, come to you, to see how we have done it.
Thank you, I think it transported us all back to 1976. And the class of 76 really appreciate your words of encouragement and support. You know, it was the intention of Dr. Segi Naidu to make this a pilot school in the launch of the clinic. His hope is that schools around the area will soon adopt this attitude and have their own adolescent clinic. And that is what he wanted from right at the beginning. And thank you, Dr. Segi Naidu. Thank you, and I think a round of applause for Mr. Kobo for his wonderful job. I now call Pearl Naika, our Vice Chair of Merebank Legacy Foundation, to hand over a gift to Mr. Ngobo as a token of our special day with us. Pearl Naika will hand over the gift to Mr. Ngobo. Thank you once again, Mr. Ngobo. We really enjoyed your talk. Of course, lots of hard work goes into setting up a clinic of this magnitude. From weekend meetings, daily contacts with members, long Zoom meetings, and we did this all while socializing. You know what they say? Hall work and no play makes Jack a dull boy? Well, we had lots of fun, so you can imagine, if you ever want to get involved in our committee, this is Tony Naidu.
Beautiful program director. It's Miss Logs Naidu. It is my humble task to convey our acknowledgements, our gratitude and thanks to the many people and individuals that were involved in making today a success. A very good afternoon to the guest of honor, honored guests from the Department of Education, the school governing body, the school management team, class of 79 and other distinguished guests. Welcome again. I'd like to first place on record our thanks to Roshan Ramdi, the principal of St. Mary's School, for the use of the school hall where we had the initial meeting. By the way, it was done over dinner, as Rose mentioned. And then Mr. Bridgelash for the use of the school staff room, where we subsequently had meetings. Thanks goes out to Rennie of Bradco Electrical, who had sponsored all the electrical work within the clinic. Vishnu Singh for overseeing the clinic upgrade. Vishnu runs a business in the community, spent great amount of hours, sacrificed his time to oversee the building works within the facility. Thank you, Vishnu. Dr. Segi Naidu for sponsoring the office furniture. Thank you. KCRC for the filing cabinets. That's going to be housing all the important documents. Rashida Reddy for arranging sponsorship of the laptop. Dr. Tameshi Naidu assisting with documentation for the approval from the department. The committee members, Segi Pearl, Kersi, Logs, Rashida, Roshan, Cliffy, Vishnu, Adeline, Tracy, Vilosni. Thank you very much for your tireless efforts throughout the preparation for the launch. The SGB chairperson, Kumar Pillai and team, also goes out to the ex-SGB chairpersons, Mr. Sean Maraj and Mr. Kumar Reddy, that they were involved in the initial stages. All professional service providers at the time, the last few weeks, counseling learners. Dr. Sandy Knight, the canvas banners and the PowerPoint presentation, thank you. Department of Education in supporting and approving this project. All our service providers, Colin Governor from the CNC Caterers will indulge shortly. Colin, thank you for the great meal. Right Angle Video Productions, video photography for capturing this historic event. By the way, is also being live streamed as I speak. Nirmala Pillai for the design, signage, the plaque, donor boards, name badges, and also for always coming to our assistance. We thank her. The religious leaders, Vignesh Sankaran, okay, there were no other pastors involved, but thank you as well. Guest of honor, Ms. Veziva Adebe, Ms. Jabu Koza, Mr. Shangasi, the acting director of the Mlazi district, Mr. Shamasa, Chief Education Specialist for Circuit Management, Ms. Yeni, Chief Education Specialist in Psychosocial Services, Mr. Patrick Naidu, the acting Senior Education Manager of Merebank. To our beautiful MC, Program Director, Ms. Log Naidu, thanks for being our Program Director for today. All guests that have joined us today, and to those that are viewing the live streaming, and not forgetting our friends abroad and in other cities within our country. I'd also like to pay special thanks to all our donors. When you go to the clinic, you'll see their names appear on the donor board. Adelaine Pillai, Ajit Singh, Ashok Kumar Madanlal, Diana Rajkisor, Hansraj Duki, Kesri Archery, Khalil Kassam, Loga Sanasi, Logs Naidu, Pam Pillai, Pearl Naika, Raj Naidu, Rashida Reddy, Ross Pillai, Roshan Ramdeen, Rati and Brian Nair, Sivan Chetty, Sundri Padyachi. Sundri is from Australia. Thiru and Elvis Govender, thank you. Tamba Lakshman, Tony and Tracy, that's my wife Tracy, Vishnu Singh and Moses Tangent. So thanks guys, you really made a contribution, and we encourage the class of 59 and other classes to come on board, and we'd like to see your sponsors for the sustenance of this project and this initiative. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and enjoy your afternoon further with us.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony, especially for complimenting me. Once again, we want to thank all of you for being here. Remember, this is only part one, end of part one. I once again like to thank Mr. Nkobo from the HOD for being here with us and with his entourage. And now we go to the question and answer session where we invite comments from the floor. The floor is open to you, and for the many questions, comments you may have that you need to ask, I call upon the chairperson, Dr. Segi Naidu and Dr. Sandra Naika, to answer any questions you may have. Now, there is a roving mic, so you don't have to get up from your places and come to the podium. So if we can have the roving mic, if there's anything you need to know, we make it short and sweet. You can put your hands up and we'll come to you. No questions? This is a very good class. Oh no, one has to ask. What's that? Even if it's any comments you may have.
But that's where I come in. I'm Ashok, and I want to congratulate the class of 1979 for the sterling work that they have done. I'm not sure whether they realize how much it takes to get to this point. So I want to thank the entire committee under Dr. Segi Naidu and all of those that came up earlier. And I want to raise a challenge to the class of 1978. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to pledge our support. And I see that there are quite a few of our colleagues here as well, and we also have a class group. So I would like to challenge them to follow in the footsteps, not by reinventing the wheel, but by joining the Legacy Foundation and supporting the Legacy Foundation and contributing financially to this great project. I want to wish you all the best going forward, and may it be long and successful and sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok.
Angelina, I actually attended your first meeting in 2019, and I promise you, a comment you guys made was, it seems impossible until it's done. And I can actually vividly remember that first conversation, and everybody was going on. And we went to that little clinic that the school used as a dump site. Sorry, Mr. Little. Mrs. Naika. It was like in a terrible state. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what it looks like right now. And yeah, I didn't think this would actually come to fruition. And a great, great thank you to all of you, because I also remember when this came up, and I personally went through an incident with my son at that time. And that's how I got involved when Mrs. Naika called me. And whoever was there would remember that I shared something very personal. And I'm really, really glad that you've actually brought this to pass. And I would love to be part of it in any possible time, anyway. And well done to all of you that brought this together, really.
Thank you for that. So I don't think there's any more. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Oh, we've got another. Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate the team, and I think at this juncture we should actually give Dr. Segi Naidu and Dr. Sandra Naika a standing ovation, please.
Definitely.
Thank you for that. It actually heartens me as the chairperson of Helping Hands. I worked very closely with all the schools in the Merebank area and the Wentworth area. We ran substance abuse programs with bullying in schools, cyberbullying, and various other programs, teenage pregnancy, nutrition. And at least now we know, because with the youth of today, they cannot really cope with the stress, especially with peer pressure. And I think this is something that's so wanted in the community and the schools. You all have our full support, and also as the OSS convener of Ward 68, we will support you 100% all the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we all have been waiting for. A proud moment for the class of 79 and the Merebank Secondary School. An historic moment, and in keeping with Mandela's legacy. The unveiling of the plaque and the cutting of the ribbon. The moment has come. Now, this will be done by the clinic itself. You know where the clinic is? I don't know if you've seen the clinic when you've come. This entire process will be done at the clinic. Unfortunately, due to its limited space, not all of us can be at the clinic. So it will be live streaming, and I think, Tony, you are setting that up for the live streaming. So, can our dignitaries, our guest of honor, Mr. Nkobo, Ms. Koza, Ms. Hadebe, Ms. Shangase,
Okay, like it's live. Don't worry.
side. You should also walk from that way. Mr. Bobo and Dr. Ching. Dr. Naidu.
Miss, you can come on this side.
Okay.
Sorry, sir? That way.
Dr. Naidu.
Yeah, facing the camera.
Come through this way, Mr. Shamasi, Mr. Shamasi. You can also stand on this way. You can stand on the other side.
Thank you so much.
Come through.
Okay.
Sorry, ma'am. You can come facing the camera, sir, so you can grab everybody.
We'll move on this, so Mr. Ngoma and I will unveil, and Ms. Hadeba and Dr. Naika will do the cutting. So, Tony, where's that ribbon?
May we all take a deep breath and say
Okay, the clinic is now officially open. The clinic is now officially open. It's an adolescent counseling clinic to assist our young people cope with the pressures that they are facing on a daily basis. Pressures that sometimes lead to dropouts. And we are hoping that with this contribution that we are going to have a place to go to assist them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngoma. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all your support in the department. Thanks. We're just going to proceed to the cutting of the ribbon with Ms. Hadeba.
The scissors on the gate, yes.
No, she's here.
Wait. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Just pose for me one picture, then you can cut, ma'am. Looking at me?
Looking.
You're looking at me? Sir, you're looking at me?
Opening the doors.
Let me ask you to first to sign off. Yes. Okay.
Dr. Naidu.
What's happening? What's the problem?
How are you? 1707. Management. We've launched officially.
It's a message.
High school. Or secondary school. But not
This Merebank High 1979 to Merebank 63.
yeah.
The sound ambulation that you made when you came in. Can we not have that? It's still there.
Why sign now? 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 Why sign now?
You writing the speech?
Thank you so much.
Yes, Mr. Put your own message on
You can put in your messages.
Thank you.
No, not from the side, but take it to the side so they can take up the
So this is the doctor.
Yes. Chris, so we have to take it to the main. Yeah. Not from the side. Okay with that. That book must go in. Thanks so much, Patrick.
The mic. You want to take the others or must I bring the phone?
The phone.
Take it.
Perfect. Okay, presentation. We'll just jump in the big.
No, no. Oh, the other way. Okay. I will write you about
Particularly proud of how
let me. I get about the bread. To support. Maybe.
I know this is a videographer. Or everybody with the cell phone.
This looks like.
Then you have our learners will enjoy this in Zimbabwe. Okay, maybe you turn this way. Then you want to come this way.
Now looking at me.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, learners. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
I have with me the guest book, which we'd like for all of you to sign and write your comments. We will be circulating it around. So, as I said, we will appreciate your comments on this book. of your attention, and then we bring this function to a close. First of all, we have now done the unveiling of the plaque and the cutting of the ribbon. Can we please fill our glasses? And we need to raise our glasses to toast to the launch of the Adolescent Clinic. So raise your glasses. I don't find Dr. Naidu here. Dr. Sandy Naika, come forward please. And Dr. Naidu, we have to raise our glasses to toast to the launch of the Adolescent Clinic. He's walking very slow. Please don't show them with the class of 79. I've got a glass for you. No, I didn't. Right, 3 cheers to the class of 79, to Merebank Secondary School, to our guests, and to the opening of the center. Hip hip, hip hip, and knock a pip. Cheers. Thank you guys. You can be seated. Thank you for attending this meeting. We appreciate your attendance and staying with us to celebrate the launch. The clinic is now available for you to visit at your pleasure. This can be done now, before your meals or after your meals, you can decide. And just to remind you, the meals are all allowed. Safe travels home, and may you have a wonderful week and a great Mandela Day. I know many of you will be doing your 67 minutes for Mandela Day. My final quote: do what you can with what you have and make a difference. Thank you. Have a safe trip back home. Goodbye.
If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what you can count on me, 'cause I can count on you. Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Every time, and I just can't fall asleep. I'll sing the song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of. We are called to have our lives in peace. You can't count on me. 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, that's when I want